Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's On the Sofa. We've got Amine Linganzi on shortly, but first, with the very sad passing of Andy Lowlands last week, former player and member of staff, we've got Alan Mays on just to do a quick tribute to him. So let's bring Vic on first.
Good evening, Chris.
Hi, Vic. Hi, you okay?
I'm all right. Thank you very much indeed. I trust you are too.
Good,
yes. We are celebrating the life of a Swindon great tonight. There's no question about that. And of course, any memories that you want to send to us, please feel free to put them in the chat, and we'll be happy to relay those memories as well.
Okay, so I'm going to bring Alan on now.
Good evening to you.
Alan.
Hello there.
Hi. Nice to see you, but not under these circumstances. But
of course.
Yeah, but it's lovely to pay tribute to Andy. So I'm going to leave you with Vic, and I'll see you later.
Chris, thanks very much indeed. It's great to see you, but of course it'll be great to see you under nicer circumstances. But obviously, you know, your time together at Swindon, many of us remember with great fondness, and a great shock to you and his family, of course. So we pass on our condolences first and foremost. What are your memories of Andy Rowland?
Well, first of all, it's very sad to hear the news taken before his time, obviously, but he was a very, very good player, traditional centre forward, sort of harping back to the old days, if you like, very competitive, good in the air, not a very big guy, but his timing was excellent. He could hold the ball up, and of course he could finish. And I mean, it goes without saying that we complemented each other in terms of the way that we played. He probably made quite a number of goals for me, but I've got one or two. In fact, I've got a few video clips of goals that I've crossed, and there he was at the back post to head it in. So it was a tremendous time, and to find a partnership like that works consistently, I mean, it takes the pressure off, because, you know, Andy was always there to hold it up and then create something for me, or hold it to give it back to the likes of Ray McHale or other players, Chris Kamara, who will then, you know, be creative the way that we played as a team. Ian Miller in a wide position that ultimately would give us all, both Andy and myself, chances. So obviously we were successful in the goal scoring side of things, but you can't take away from the contribution of the team. But Andy was a top player, great centre forward, and a pleasure to play with.
Yeah, I mean, underrated is a word, I suppose, it's thrown around football. When you look at that partnership, Mays and Rowland, I mean, the point is, to this day, people talk about it as one of the great partnerships in Swindon Town's history. And we shouldn't forget, of course, you had Chick Bates and Gilchrist around at that time as well, who were also a pretty decent partnership.
Good players.
Yeah. But, you know, how does it feel to have that sort of legendary status put towards you?
Well, it's very humbling for you to say that. It's much appreciated, but you can't knock statistics. You know, the figures were there. I'll say again that we were part of a very good team that created lots of chances, but I don't know, the culture, the attacking culture that we had helped, but, you know, we could both finish, and we proved that, and we took the weight off of each other. You know, if one of us wasn't necessarily doing it on the day or wasn't scoring, then the other one was always going to be a threat.
Well, I've got a couple of comments coming in already. Rob says, good evening all, such sad news indeed. Mark says, evening, Alan. You and Andy were one of the main reasons I started supporting the town in the late 70s. Fantastic partnership. You both scored goals for fun. R.I.P. Andy. I mean, you see, the thing is, what you don't realise, footballers, is how much you mean to people. And Andy, of course, stayed around in the town for 20 years. He served the club as well. and worked in a pub in Old
Yeah.
Town too.
Yeah.
But do you have any idea how much you mean to people?
Well, no, I hope there's some sort of legacy that I've left. Statistically, it was probably the best goals ratio that I had, or that was about 1 in 3 generally, but more like 2 point something at Swindon. So yeah, and the fans meant a lot to me because I hope I had a good rapport with them, and it was just, I mean, the crowds got bigger and bigger, as you will remember. That how many games did we have a sellout ground of 26,000? It was unprecedented. It was just such a brilliant time. It was very exciting, all the games against first division opposition, and you know we did well enough against every single side. We did ourselves proud.
Yeah, and more comments coming in. Andrew says he scored, and Andy Rowland, he scored his first goal I saw at the county ground 50 years ago this August, playing his first professional match for Bury, aged 19. Of course, Bobby Smith was manager at Bury when Andy was there, and later signed him for the town. Mark says, good evening, gents. Very sad news. I remember those days that you are describing so well. It was a wonderful experience as a young man, watching such exciting players, of which you and Andy were a major part. And James says, Mays and Rowland, true legends for the town. I met Andy many times, and he was a gentleman. R.I.P. Andy. What was your relationship like? I mean, I watched an interview, I was telling you just now, about some time ago with Martin Tyler, just before you played Tottenham.
Yeah.
And he was asking how you mixed off the pitch as well. And he said there was a little kiddies party and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What was your relationship like?
Well, we were friends. We got on well. Not perhaps as close as I was to one or two of the other players, Ian Miller and Chris Kamara, but we socialised with Andy's wife, and we had this sort of kiddies party. So, yeah, we were close as a team, and I think that relationship and going out socially helped bond us, really. But he was a nice lad as well, genuine nice lad. There were no airs and graces with Andy. You would certainly say that. What you saw, you got. You know, he was a genuine guy.
Yeah, I have to say that in many, many years ago, in the midst of time when I started doing work for Hospital Radio Swindon, he was the first Swindon player I ever interviewed. And he invited me around his house for a cup of tea. I was starstruck, to say the least, but absolutely genuine. So I've always remembered that. And those things stick in your mind, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Tony says, great team, also a happy team, always working for each other. Andy, we'll never forget that night against a star-studded Arsenal team. Now, it was a fabulous night, but we shouldn't forget the week before, you'd been to Highbury, got the draw, and then in the middle, 8-0 against Bury. Now, I have said to many people, that's arguably the best week in Swindon Town's history. It couldn't really get much better than that, could it?
Absolutely. I've got the game on video. One of the other things, we were a very hard-working team, and what they talk about these days is pressing. We could press and stop other teams playing because we were very fit. And performance-wise, it did come to a culmination against Bury, and wow, I think it's still the record score at Swindon. But what a game that was. To come out winning 8-0. I mean, that doesn't happen very often.
I've always wondered, you all went in the dressing room and said, could you bring on Arsenal now? We want to play them now. Is that how it felt?
Well, we were always confident that I was going to say put on a good show. That's not what I mean. That we could win. And we did, more often than not, against opposition of that nature. Because we raised our level, there's no doubt about that. But we competed, and as you know, we were unfortunate. The 2 games that we lost in a week, away to Spurs, and then Wolves. I mean, it could have gone either way. You know that. It was, well, very sad. I mean, not as sad as the news today, even put it in perspective, but it could have been so different. We were so close. We were 45 minutes from Wembley, and you all know this, and supporters listening. But it wasn't to be, unfortunately. It's just lady luck along the way, isn't it?
I did mention to you before we started about your teeth. Did you ever replace them? Paul Bradshaw that night. I mean, he would have gone, wouldn't he, in today's football? It's that simple.
Oh, without doubt. Put us back in the game, obviously. I came back on, but probably a bit concussed. I don't know. I can't remember too much about it. But I said to you earlier that we had a genuine goal, in my opinion, disallowed just before half-time, which would have put us 3-1 up on aggregate. It was a goal or a penalty on Billy Tucker, and they were given a free kick. So again, fine margins. You look at what could have been. If we'd have had that bit of luck, it could have been so different. But it wasn't to be, unfortunately.
I also remember in the first leg as well, Andy had a shot very close to scoring a third just before the end as well. Because you got a second late on, didn't you?
Yeah.
So if it had been 3-1 that night, who knows?
Yeah. And we always competed. We were so close. And that's testimony to what a good team we were. We were never outplayed, outclassed, and certainly never outfought. But we had some very good players. I mean, Andy obviously was a very, very good goal scorer and would always nick one for you. But the likes of Ian Miller, Brian Williams, Chris Kamara, I can go on. Kenny Stroud, who I saw last year, a couple of years ago with you at the supporters function. They could all play. It wasn't just a team that were hardworking and made it difficult. There was a lot of creativity in that team, as well as being able to compete with the very best, which we did. Yeah,
Steve reminds me of this. Andy's goal against Watford on Match of the Day, how Barry Davis loved it. Because Ross Jenkins, I think, scored an own goal, didn't he, in that one?
Yeah, I've got the video of that as well. It was a great goal by Andy. Lovely little chip by John Trollope, I think it was. And very, very good finish. And I think they ended up going up that year, but we outplayed them on the day. Again, it just showed the quality in the side.
Yeah, let's have a look. Can we not talk about Wolves away? Still to this day, says Mark, I don't think I've ever witnessed such a terrible display of refereeing. Genuinely, I don't think I've ever got over it. Never liked Wolves since. I clearly hold a grudge. Mark, you're not the only one. Trust me, it still burns very, very deep. We've talked about the Paul Bradshaw one. Anthony asked that question. Watford, we've mentioned that one. So many comments coming in. In terms of the man himself, Andy, you've mentioned how genuine he was. What will be your abiding memory of Andy Rowland, do you think?
I said earlier that you don't see many centre forwards of his type anymore. He could not only finish, he was very good in the air, he could hold it up, he could bring players into play. He was a nice guy. He got on well with everyone. He was genuine. And he fought, as we did as a team. But in particular, Andy had an edge about him. He would never shirk, pull out of a tackle. He was a hard lad. And he wasn't a giant for a centre forward. But I'll go back to what I said before, the timing in the air. More often than not, he would win it against players much bigger than him. And I knew when to make runs. I mean, the goal against Wolves in the first leg, if you remember, I just made the run because I knew he was going to win it, and he did. And fortunately, I managed to poke it home, which gave us a win on the night. So, yeah, he was genuine, hardworking, talented centre forward who would always give his utmost for the club, and he did, as you well know, for Swindon over so many years, both on and off the field. Yeah,
I've got a comment here about you and scoring. Where is it? Oh, yeah. Alan and Andy both loved so much. I forgive Andy for Alan, sorry, for scoring against us for Blackpool in a 6-2 defeat for us. There you go. You're forgiven for scoring against us. How about that? That's not bad at all. So what is that chemistry then between two players? Is it do you develop that, or how does that work?
Well, we obviously worked on pattern of play like every club in training, but I think it was a natural chemistry. I knew how he played, and it wasn't just flicking it on. If he was going to go long, I'd come shorter, and vice versa. You've got to have a shape and balance, which we can't say at the moment England have found. But there was a nice balance between the two of us, because obviously he was a big centre forward. I was more of an inside forward, if you like, that played off of him. And I like to get wide and get crosses in, and he benefited from that on occasion. So, yeah, it was a true partnership. It worked well from the start, and he was a pleasure to play with.
Kevin says, best goal you saw Andy score?
I think that Watford one, because it's sort of coming over his shoulder, but probably too many. If you showed me a list of videos, I might pick another one, but because I saw that recently and it was such an important goal against Watford, that was a quality goal, the volley over his head. Yeah,
because the week before, if I remember right, you'd lost at home to Swansea, hadn't you?
Yes.
You had 2 huge games in the space of a week, which is incredible, really. And when you look back, I mean, you very kindly said you'll come back and do a longer piece with us, which I'm delighted about. But if I were to say to you that team didn't get what it deserved, is that fair to say?
Yes and no. I said previously that there was, if you like, a psychological scar from the 2 games in a week. I think it was 2 games in a week, Wolves and Spurs, getting knocked out of both cups and being so unlucky to not get, especially through to Wembley. I think it played its part. I mean, we were desperate to get promotion, but I think we lost at, I don't know what it was after, we lost at home to, can't remember who it was. Jack Charlton was the manager. And it just didn't happen. We just didn't raise our game to the same level at the end of the season, the last few games, because we had so many games in hand. If we'd have won them all, we were up without a doubt. But yeah, did we deserve more? Certainly in terms of the ability and quality in that side, we deserve promotion. But, would we have, well, I would have to say I would rather have got promotion, but would you have wanted to have missed that period of time that was so exciting with 4 or 5 games against first division opposition? I'm not sure, because it was just a roller coaster. It was brilliant times for the whole club.
Anthony says Sheffield Wednesday. Was that the team?
Sheffield Wednesday, that's it.
Yeah. Well, Alan, thank you so much. And as I said to you before, please let us know when you want to come to a game at the County Ground, because we will sort you out some tickets, trust me. And it would be lovely to get you there.
I'd love to come back again. I haven't been back for a while. So, yeah, and it's a pleasure speaking to you. And obviously my condolences. Please pass them on to friends and family. And thank you very much for having me.
No, it's our pleasure, and we'll look forward to doing a longer piece with you in the near future. That'll be fabulous. And I don't know whether you can tell, but I'm a little starstruck, I've got to say. So
I don't know.
Thank you ever so much. Have a lovely evening, and we're really grateful. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me. Bye-bye now.
Thanks, Alan. And I'll be in touch, and we'll sort out some dates.
Okay, Chris.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Thanks. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Well, there you are, a town legend, Mays, and it was such lovely talking to him. And we will do a longer on the sofa with him, which is going to be fantastic. So there we are.
Yes, yeah. I'll get some dates out to him, and we'll certainly all like that, as well as getting him down to the County Ground as well. So, right, I think I've got Amine on. So let's see if we can get. If there's anybody there. There we go.
Yeah.
Hiya.
Hi, how are you guys?
Hi. All right, how are you?
Very well.
All good.
Good.
Oh, good. Thank you very much for your patience with that. So I am going to leave you, and I'll speak.
Chris, thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much indeed for hanging on. I mean, but obviously we lost Andy Rowland last week, so only right that we should pay tribute with his great striking partner, Alan May. So I appreciate your time. Let's go back right to the beginning then for you. Born in Algiers, if I'm right. Algeria, is that right?
Perfect.
Good. Now, when did you start your football career? Because you linked up with the great Saint Etienne, which is one of the great names of French football. How did that all work for you?
Well, it was an amazing experience. Obviously, because I'm from the south of France, so the weather is amazing. And when I go to Saint Etienne, the weather is really, really cold. In the beginning, it was a little bit difficult for me, but people in Saint Etienne are great. I met my ex-wife there, so there now the club is like my family now. It's like my second family. So I had a very good time, and obviously they gave me the chance, the opportunity to be a professional footballer. So thank you very much from them. Yeah.
How big are Saint Etienne now? Because obviously PSG are kind of like the team in France, aren't they? But you know, when you go back to the history of Saint Etienne, they have players like Jules Fontaine and people like that. I mean, it was a very famous European club.
It is. They lost, I think, a final in the 70s, something like this. And Saint Etienne was the first French club, to be at the top. They probably won for 10 years in a row the first division. So the fan base in Saint Etienne is really huge in France as well. So now there is Paris, but at the time in the 70s, 80s, 90s, Saint Etienne was top club. After they went to second division, it was a little bit more difficult, but now they're going up, and obviously Saint Etienne is my favorite club in France. So this is why my heart is like is green. Is a green shirt. So so it's a big yeah. Really nice club, nice people there as well. So nice, really nice.
Yeah, and actually, if I remember rightly, they had a pop group named after them in Britain in the 1990s as well, Saint Etienne. So can't get bigger than that, can you? Really have a pop group named after you? So what about your move to England then? Because you played in the first team for Saint Etienne. I think you made your debut against Bordeaux. But what brought about your move to England?
Well, because when I was in Saint Etienne, we changed the manager, and the new manager didn't like me, to be honest. And my profile, tall and quite skillful. My agent at the time was thinking it's maybe better for you to go to England because it's physique, and you have the physique, to play there alongside the Nzonzi at the time for Blackburn. So obviously I went on trial to Blackburn I was supposed to stay 2 days with Sam Allardyce. I stayed 3 weeks. Yeah, I stayed 3 weeks, and we were at the canteen and we were watching Sky Sports. And on Sky Sports, I saw my manager was sacked again. Yeah. So I came back in France, and obviously the new manager told me, I want you to stay, but me, I wanted to leave. So I went to Blackburn and I signed a 3.5 year contract.
How was Sam Allardyce as a manager then?
Funny. Funny because really funny. Good person. He wasn't really there at training. He was from Monday to Thursday, he wasn't there. So he was probably coming on Friday, Saturday, or maybe from Monday to Wednesday he wasn't at training. I think he was in Dubai somewhere else. And it was on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then go. So he's a good person. And strong character as well. Good charisma. When you talk, you listen. So I really enjoyed with him.
Got 100% record of manager of England, of course, because he only managed one game, which they won. So not many managers. Well, I don't think anybody else has got 100% record as manager of England. So fair enough. Yes. So Blackburn then, you then went on loan, I think, to Preston, didn't you? But it didn't quite work out for you at Preston, did it? You had a chance to go there permanently.
Yeah, no. To be straight with you, my issue in my career was injury. When I left Saint Etienne, I was injured. When I was at Blackburn, the two doctors from Saint Etienne and Blackburn were talking about a surgery, but they were saying I was too young to have a surgery. So it took time for me, to really play football. To be honest with you, so when I went to Preston on trial, I got injured. This is why 2 months after, I did two surgeries. I did two surgeries and then come back to Blackburn. And then after, it was more complicated for me because I couldn't shoot the ball for 1 year. Yeah, so it was really tough time for me. For a young from 18 to 23, I couldn't play football because of my injury. So it was really, really tough moment for me.
Because is that how you picked one of your injuries with a hamstring? With a shot on goal, wasn't it? Is that how it happened?
From 18 to 23, it was hernia, groins, and then when I left Blackburn and I went to Accrington, and then after, I put my hamstring so many times when I was in Gillingham. But most of the time, in the beginning of my career, it was hernia. I couldn't play football. Couldn't.
How difficult is that mentally then? Because you're a footballer, you want to play football, clearly. How do you deal with that? Because it's a side of football that we don't often see. We see the players on the pitch.
Oh, yeah.
We have our opinions on the players on the pitch, but we don't know what they've gone through. So how difficult is that to deal with?
We are 20 years old. Yeah. It's really, really tough. People don't understand the pressure we have in our shoulders, especially with the media. So you do a bad game, it's hard for you. People you can see on the internet, you can see on TV. You was bad. So for you, the most important thing is to have a good entourage. I think as a footballer, when you have a wife to support you, family, and good friends, and I repeat, good friends, because many people like you for what you have and not who you are. So for young people, it's quite hard, but I think you need to have a good agent, a good family, good friends around you, to be strong mentally, to be honest with you. That's the only thing it can happen. And I think you need to understand you are more than a footballer, because many footballers, they think that's the only thing they can do. So this is why for me it's really important, they understand you are more than a footballers. I think it's key.
Sure. I mean, you're a human being first and foremost, aren't you?
That's it. That's it.
Gillingham. You've had Sam Allardyce as a manager. You have Martin Allen as a manager.
Yeah.
I mean, interesting managers. How was the Mad Dog, as they called him?
No, because the football is funny because people see the outside part. We are inside. It's like when you talk about Ibrahimovic, he looks arrogant, but that's how it is on TV. But when players talk about him, he's a really good guy. He's a lovely guy. And Martin Allen is the same. Maybe he was shouting, but people don't know. Maybe it's written on internet, but I lost my brother that year. Tragically, I lost my brother, and I had a really, really tough time with injuries. My ex-wife wasn't happy to be there as well. And I lost my driving license. So the first person who helped me was Martin Allen. He took me as his own son. So I'm really, really, really grateful for him. And he's a really, really good guy. It was like my dad, to be honest with you. He was like my dad. So I will always remember that all my life.
Well, they're very nice words. He had very nice words about you, I think, because he said you were destined for the top before those injuries. He obviously rated you very highly as a footballer.
Yes, because when I left Blackburn, David Dunn told me, I mean, now you need to go away, just go play football. So I went to Accrington with Liam Richardson, the assistant of Paul Cook, and that was the first time I was playing regular football at 23 years old, and I played away against Gillingham. So I did one of the best games of my career there, in the front of Gillingham fans, and we play on Saturday. On Monday, he called me and said to me, "Amin, I want you to sign for Gillingham. I want you for next year." And I said, "Yes, I signed for you."
There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah, good guy.
Yeah. And then I'm going to say this because I've been wanting to say this all day. Now, if I say this incorrectly, I apologise. But you signed for Étoile Fréjus San Rafael. San
My friend,
Rafael. Is that okay?
you are French.
Well, I've been to Fréjus, so I know that's it's a very nice place, isn't it? Isn't it up in the mountains?
Amazing place. Amazing
Yeah.
place.
Yeah. So how did that happen?
Well, my ex-wife didn't want to stay in England. She didn't
That
want to
simple.
stay in England because she missed family, and we signed there, and it was difficult as well because I've been facing a lot of jealousy as well, and because when I went there, I came as a Premier League player. I had a big car as well. So yeah, it was a little bit difficult. And then I was lacking wisdom as well at the time, to be honest with you. And I went from Old Trafford to First Raphael, but I went to the I was playing with the like 7th division
Right.
because they didn't like me. So, but for me, it was difficult, but it was one of the best time of my life because I needed to be stronger mentally, spiritually, physically. Even it was tough, but the year after, miracles happened. So it was important for me to go through this. It was important to go through fire. It was key for me.
Yeah, you mentioned the fact that you weren't wise. I mean, what did you learn about yourself as a person? Because adversity, makes you tougher, doesn't it? It does make you tougher. What did you learn about yourself?
The one of the best thing in my life, my identity. Yeah, when I was 25 years old, something personal happened to my life, and I understand who I was. And for me, it was easier after to be prepared to my after career. So that's the only thing I can tell you. My identity. I knew who I was in my career.
Okay, and I won't press you too much, but it obviously had a great effect on you, whatever it was that happened.
Pardon?
It obviously had great effect on you, whatever it was that happened.
Of 100%, because that time I understand, like I put foundations in my life. For me, it was faith, family, friends, football. So football is in the 4th place because in my career, and that's all the footballers, we quite do the same things. If we lose the game, we go home and then we sad. And then when you're sad, you suffer. Your son is sad and your wife, she's sad. So I realized in my career, like, why she doesn't deserve it. So this is why I put football in the 4th place. So doesn't matter the results, I will be happy. I will be satisfied. I understand, like, football it's amazing. This is my passion, but there is more important than that, as we can see with Andrew Rowland.
Yeah.
There is more important than that, and that's what I understand when I was 25 years old.
Fair enough. Okay. So then you have a chance to come back to England, don't you? And Portsmouth. How did that come about?
Liam Richardson. He was with me at Accrington, and then when he moved to Portsmouth, he asked me to come, and then I went there. I did like a trial, and then I signed there. Portsmouth is an amazing club, as you know, nice city as well, and I really enjoyed the time there. Obviously, I met great people there as well. Great people. I met a guy called Mick Mellows, and I was spending time with Levon Primus as well. They're really amazing people. They took me as their son, little brother, and he helped me a lot with my ex-wife and son. So it was a really, really good time. Paul Cook as well. The players, we had we laughed together, we cried together as well. So it was Portsmouth was a special time for me. Special time, yeah.
It's interesting. We were just talking to Alan Mays about the great Andy Rowland, who we lost last week, and what shone through was team spirit. And I'm guessing in football, that's a very important thing.
It is, because if I tell you a quick story, we were seventh during the league in League Two, and the fans, they were more like they were quite difficult with us, a lot of pressure, and because of the pressure, the atmosphere even in the team with the managers were really, really bad. So I decided to do like a meeting with the players, and I was sharing my testimony. And then after that, it completely. I'm not saying I'm the savior, but we set up like twice or three times a month. We were spending time together with families and kids, and it completely changed the team. And in the end, we won the league. So that's how I call team spirit, because when you bring that team spirit, you're not playing with your colleagues, you're playing with your brothers, and this is the difference.
Yeah, sure. So how did Swindon come calling then? Because it was in June 2017 that you signed for the town. David Flitcroft was manager. How did that come about?
Well, in the end of the season with Portsmouth, Kenny Jackett came, and to be honest, like, he promised me to sign a new contract, but he never bring me back. So for me, for my family, it was hurtful. And a friend called me and they said to me, listen, I spoke with Dave Flitcroft and he really wants you to Swindon. And they said to me, Swindon is a really top club. They come from League One to League Two. And I think you should go there. And they're ambitious club because they want to go up again. So I said, listen, let's go there. At least he wants me, so I'll give my best, because I was coming from Portsmouth. My shoulders was big at the moment. My self-confidence was huge as well. So I said, let's go play for Swindon. And I knew Swindon from before. I played against Swindon before, so I knew the club. So for me, it was no hesitation for me.
How was it when you got there?
Amazing. I really, really enjoyed with Dave Flitcroft, with the players. Our squad was amazing, good people, and I enjoyed my time. Unfortunately, I got injured in December. I pulled my thigh 4 centimeters, 3 months out, and then Dave left. Phil Brown came, and obviously I had Phil Brown in Preston. So,
of course.
So I knew he liked me, and in my mind, I was thinking, okay, when I came back, I'm going to play. So obviously, I didn't play. And I asked him why I don't play, because I'm fit now. He said, I mean, I don't think this level is for you. I said, I don't understand what you're saying to me. What do you want me to do then? He said, no, I think it's better you just sit down and then watch training. For me, I couldn't understand. But the crazy thing is when I pulled my thigh in December, it was between I can't remember in when you play a lot of games in England. I forgot.
Around Christmas time, was it?
Yeah, during Christmas time, whatever. During Christmas
time.
I had an offer from Plymouth. Yeah, I had an offer from Plymouth, and me at the time, my aim, of course, was to play higher. But Dave Freecroft said he refused the offer. So, and in the same time, I was injured, so I couldn't go to Plymouth, whatever. But I played the first 3-4 games, I think, with Swindon, and the last game was Accrington, the winners. And I did I think one of the best game I did for Swindon in the last game. And then Phil Brown told me sorry. In the end, he told me.
So did you ever work out what he said by that? I don't. Did he mean you were too good for League Two, or what did he actually mean? Do you know? Did you ever find out?
That's what he said to me.
Yeah.
He said to me, "That's not your level. The way you play, you don't fit for this level in the team." So, and I told him, "Tell me how I can play it, and I will do it." He said no. He said no. But as I said, like at the time, my heart was really in peace. So the only thing I wanted for the club was to go to League One. So this is why the same thing I did for Portsmouth to do meeting with the players, I did exactly the same with Swindon Town. Team spirit. This is why with my ex-wife, all the players, instead of go parties, they were going to my place at home because I was living in Wootton Bassett. I said, guys, don't go, stay here. And we were staying together. We were staying together all together. Yeah.
Friendship's very important to you, isn't it? I gather that. You like to be friends with people. You like to get on with people.
I love people. That's my values. That's the way I've been educated as well. I've been educated by unconditional love, forgiveness. That's how I grew up. And then football hasn't changed my mind, hasn't changed my spirit, my soul. And that's how I see football today, because we're living in a cold world, especially in the football. There is pride and everything. So I decided, to walk by humility, and that's what we need. And because I understood as well at the time, as a football player, you are an example, and I was a father as well. Many kids they're watching us. I've been to many stadiums, and then I could see people they're swearing with the kids on the side, and I was telling them, guys, you have children. Come on, guys. So I don't exaggerate. I'm not perfect, but that's how I see my life. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that comes across definitely. So then you sort of decide to move again, because would you like to have stayed at a club for a long time? Because you've had a lot of moves, you've had a lot of injuries, clearly. Was there ever a time when you thought, I wish I could put roots down here? Was there any time when that might have happened?
Of course. When I was at Portsmouth, I wanted to stay, but they told me to go away because we won the league. My ex-wife at the time was happy, so we weren't too far from France as well, so it was perfect. And they kicked me out. When in the end of the season, I spoke with Phil Brown, and he told me, I want you to stay, but at the time I wanted to play higher, and I had opportunity in Spain in second division. This is why I left, but nothing happened. And then suddenly I was without club. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, so I did a trial for Bury, got injured. I did a trial for Fleetwood, injured as well. Yeah, I went to Qatar. It was terrible there as well. So in the end, I was living in Manchester, and I signed after that for Salford City because I knew the manager.
Sure. Well, Salford, Manchester makes sense, doesn't it? Rob says, "What a top bloke." So there we go. Mark's got a question here. What was the difference between the management styles of Phil Brown and David Flitcroft? What would you say are the differences?
I think as a leader, you have to serve people. This is why Ancelotti is one of the best coaches. That he serve people. This is the difference between David Croft and Phil Brown. Phil Brown at the time, he didn't want to serve us. He didn't want to help the players. Dave, he was caring more than Phil Brown, I think. It doesn't mean Phil Brown is a bad guy, but I think Phil Brown wasn't caring the players because we are kids anyway. Some people you need to caress, some people you need to be rude, but at the time, most of the players is just caress. And then Phil Brown, he didn't understand that. I think he still had in his mind, I was the bottom manager. Yeah, unfortunately,
Sure.
but he's a good person. I think he's a good person. He's been through a lot as well in his life. I remember we talked about it. He's been through a lot because managers, they're human as well. They're human beings as well.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he didn't make it.
Fair enough. So you're off to Salford, left at the end of that season. So what happened then? I mean, are you still involved in football? Are you coaching? What's happening with you?
Yes. So when I left Salford, I came back in France because I got separated with my ex-wife, and my son was in France, so I decided to leave France just before the Brexit. I signed for a club in 4th division in France, and unfortunately, in my first game, 3 minutes playing, captain, I received a bad tackle. Then I ruptured I broke my ankle. I ruptured my Achilles. I broke my ankle when I was 30 years old. Got surgery, and then I decided to stop football. And in my mind, it was tough. It was during COVID, so the COVID atmosphere, the COVID atmosphere really pushed me to decide. I mean, stop football, and after that, I did a certification to be a mental coach. So it makes sense.
Well, I was going to say, boy, oh boy, are you qualified for that because you've been through the mill, haven't you?
Yes, exactly. I'm qualified because this is I went to a good school of life, and I decided to share as well my testimony because it was more than football. I've been through a lot of things, a lot of issues in my personal life. That's why now I'm trying to support athletes to give the best advice. To be like a big brother. I think we all need a big brother in our life.
I mean, what do you say to somebody then? Because, athletes do have terrible times at times. We see all the glamour, we see all the success, don't we? We're watching the Euros at the minute. Mentally Scotland are nearly there. Then, of course, it's snatched away right at the last minute like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to take some coming back from, isn't it? So what do you say to athletes who, A, suffer disappointment, and B, injury? Because goodness me, if ever anybody who knows about injuries is you, I mean, what do you actually say to them?
Well, I say to them to put foundations. As I said, like family and friends is more important than football. That's what I said. And when injuries happen, I always say like it happened for a reason. Because for me, injuries, sufferings is good to be a better person first and a better athlete. We all need to go through fire. It is life. You can be poor or rich. We have to learn something from that. That's why I always stay positive when injuries come, when difficulties come. So you need to understand, like, okay, you lost the game, you have another game. So this is why Mandela said, I never lose. We never lose. Or I win or I learn. That's it.
No, well, I commend you for being so positive because, man, I don't know how you come back from all these injuries. And did you ever think, why do I get so many? Was it the way you played? How was it? I mean, why do you think you got so many?
I did everything possible. Drink water. And the funny thing is, I did a crazy preseason with Swindon Town. I was fit. I think in my career, that's where I've have the most games in a row. When I scored the most goals as well, it was with Swindon Town. But I did everything. I did everything. Sleep well, sleep early, eat properly. I did everything. But for me, everything happened for a reason, and I believe I'm more effective now to help football players now and athletes as well. And for me, I did everything. I did everything. The only thing I regret was to don't have like a psychologist, because you need to understand, like, when you have so many injuries, in your mind is written you're gonna get injury now.
Sure.
This is why.
Yeah. Well, I would imagine things like hamstring injuries, you're wondering when it's going to go ping again, basically, aren't you?
Exactly, my friend. I pulled more than 60 times my hamstrings, more than 60 times. So this is why, like, I believe if I had a mental coach, I could um, delete. I could like throw away, cast out this issue. It was in my mind. That's it.
I mean, whatever level of football you play at, if you've got a weakness, say a calf injury or whatever, you are wondering whether that calf injury is going to go again, aren't you? I mean, that's a fact of life, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. I would. I tell you the truth. From probably 20 years old to 29, I played 40% because I was in fear to get injured every games.
Sure.
Yeah, it was it was tough, but as I said, like, now this is why my mentality is completely different now. I think, and I'm convicted. Like, of course, mentally, I'm so strong now. It doesn't mean I'm still a human. It doesn't mean I cry or everything. But in sports now, I'm built, to give the best advices. I'm built now to support any person now because I've been through this. So I rejoice. I'm happy I've been through this.
Well, do you know? Well, that's a good of you to say that, bearing in mind the experiences you've had. I mean, I would say there's a great inner peace, it seems to me, about you. I get that. It comes across, to be honest, that you have that particular quality. I mean, we should say, of course, you played international football for the Congo, didn't you? Or for Congo, I should say. And you made your debut against, ironically, Algeria. Is that right?
Well, I made my debut against Tunisia. Yeah, I made my debut against Tunisia, and that's when issues come because I pulled my hamstring at 30 minutes playing. Yeah, then I was doing a good game, but unfortunately I got injured, and that's when it started, to be injured for many years. Yeah, but it was a good time. When you play for the national team, you really play with your brothers, and when you play with the national team as well, you're like an ambassador for your country. So you do feel. I don't think people realize how tough it is, to play with the national team. You when you play, you really feel the pressure of a nation, especially for an African country. because they're really poor, because they have many issues. And I don't want to say the only time, but the time when they can rejoice, this is with football.
Yeah.
I understood that during my career. I understood like football was bringing a little bit of smiling and happiness, especially when conditions in Africa are really, really rough. So playing for the national team I'm so proud. I'm really proud of it.
Yeah, so you should be. There's another question that's come in from Mark. Given the amount of injuries you've had, how did you pass medicals at the clubs you've played for? Were there clubs that wouldn't sign you because of injury concerns? Did that ever happen?
Of course.
Yeah, sure.
Of course. One day, my son he showed me on FIFA the game, and even it can be FIFA or Football Manager. It's written on me injury prone. So yeah, I think I had a hernia for 5 years, and for about 5, 6, 7 years, yeah, I put my hamstrings. So in terms of medical, yeah, the doctors, they did their best. They couldn't understand, because when you see me physically, I'm 6'2". I'm like 84 kilos. You cannot imagine that guy is weak. Yeah, I was built like a real athlete, but I was picking up injuries. So yeah, it was as I said, it's life.
Sure. What about the Euros then? France, would you put them up there with a great chance of winning it?
Of course, 100%. I think since about 10 years ago now, about 10 years, I think France, they had a great team, they had great talent. At the time, we were saying the best talents were in Brazil. I think now they're not, especially in France, but they're in Paris. In Paris, there is so many talents. This is amazing. All the big agents, they are now in France, especially in Paris. So most of the players in the national team in France, 75%, they're from Paris. And unfortunately, we all know Pogba. He's been through a lot. And thank God we have N'Golo Kante. He's an amazing player. I hope Mbappe is coming back. And then, yeah, we are good players. Giroud still there. Griezmann. Top players. But top players not enough. We saw it with PSG. You can have Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe. You're not going. If you don't play as a team, that's why they won the World Cup in 2018.
Yeah.
They were a team. They're friends. They're brothers. That's how you win titles. That's it. There's no magics.
1998, that was pretty special too. I mean, you know, they're a fabulous team, weren't they? I mean, look at that side that had in '98. That was incredible.
It was amazing. And when you talk about it, I have goosebumps, because my last game was with Salford, and we did the promotion at Wembley. And I remember I took a picture with the '98 team. And for me, that picture was saying, I mean, you need to go back to France now. At Wembley. So, an amazing team. You know, Zidane was my idol when I was young. It was an amazing team.
Players like Manu Petit, who really, you know, was an engine, wasn't he? He was the man who kind of made France tick. Players like that. And of course, then subsequently, Thierry Henry, fabulous players that have come through France. And, you know, from nowhere, I remember back in the 60s, France weren't looked upon as one of the great teams, really. But to where they are now is absolutely extraordinary. So what are they doing right that we aren't? What are they doing right that England isn't, say?
When I came to it's funny, because I feel more English than French today. English mentality, when you're training, is really tough. It's a fight, you know. And after when training is finished, is beer. In France, we are quite like slow, you know, to fight, you know, to training. And in France, the weather is nice as well.
Yeah.
So we have in every hoods, every part of countries, cities, whatever cities, you have a pitch. We have a football pitch. We just play outside from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. I think this is a massive difference between France and England. This is the weather for me. This is the weather. After, England, they've been through some Allardyce, long balls during the time. And I believe like Spain, Guardiola, when he came to England, he quite changed the game. So you can see like with English academies, now we play more tiki-taka now. It's more this game. I'm watching a lot of League One games because I'm a mental coach of a player from Northampton. So I still watching games. Yeah, I know everything. I'm still in UK with you guys. I'm still there. Yeah, I'm still there. But for me, yeah, this is the only difference. Yeah, now between England and France. Yeah.
Well, Amine, thank you very much indeed for your time. It's been great talking to you, and I applaud you for what you've been through and the way you've come through it. It is an extraordinary thing because, boy, oh boy, if you know about life's experiences, it's you, isn't it? So we really appreciate your time. Thank you ever so much.
Welcome. Thank you for inviting me. It was a pleasure, and God bless you guys, all of you.
You take care.
Thank you very much, Amine. No, thank you. It's been very. Don't go away a moment. You stay where you are. We'll just go off live and then we'll just say goodbye afterwards. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you to Alan at the start for the tribute to Andy, and of course to Amine for joining us. Fascinating. I don't know how you can go through all that, but come through it on the other side. So that's good. So we will be back, Vic and I, next week. We've got a bit of something different. We are doing Fair Game. So we got the CEO from Fair Game in. So they're just going to tell us a bit about what the company do or what the organisation do and things like that. So that'll be next Monday.
And
but
Wednesday,
we've got
don't forget Wednesday.
Yes,
there we go.
Yeah, we've got a special. We're back on Wednesday. So as we know, it's fixture release day. So we will have a panel on Wednesday night to go through who we're playing first, who we're playing over Christmas, and then they'll all change anyway because that's the way it is this season, isn't it? We don't know if it's a Friday, a Saturday, Sunday, or whatever. So, but yes, so we'll be back on Wednesday, same time, 7 o'clock. So I hope you can join us then. If not, join us next Monday. So thank you very much, Amine, again, and we will see you soon. Thank you.
Bless you guys. Bye. Thank you.